So this is Indian Contract Act 1872. First of all, I would like to give the introduction of the same act. The Indian Contract Act 1872 is originally inspired by English common law. It was applicable to whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir from the first day of September, that is 1st September 1872. Initially, Sales of Good Act and Indian Partnership Act were the part of Indian Contract Act 1872. But later on, Sales of Goods Act was being separated in 1930, and in 1932, Indian Partnership Act was also being separated from Indian Contract Act 1872. So this was the brief introduction of Indian Contract Act. For knowing the meaning of contract, we have to talk about two terminologies. First is the agreement and second is contract itself. So we need to find out the relationship of agreement and contract so that we can be able to answer for a valid contract. Common view is that both are not the different from each other, but Indian Contract Act differentiated both the terms. How it is being differentiated according to Indian Contract Act? Indian Contract Act says every agreement is not a contract. Every contract is not an agreement. How it is possible? Every social agreement is not a contract. Every commercial agreement may be considered as contract. Just take the example of social agreement. If a student promises to a teacher, if he score good in the exam, will organize party to the teacher, but he fails to do so, can the teacher should file the suit against him? Can that teacher file the suit against him? This is my question. Answer is no. Of course no. So have you think ever what is the reason why teacher is not filing a suit against the student? Because it is a social agreement, and this agreement is having lack of legal enforceability and intention to create a legal relationship. That's why the teacher is not able to suit against the student. So this is the fundamental behind these two statement written in this slide. Every agreement is not a contract and every contract is an agreement. So social agreement is not a contract because there is a there are few factors missing, like legal enforceability is also missing and intention to make a legal relationship is missing here. So that's why the social agreement cannot be considered as the contract. Now I would like to show you the exact relationship between agreement contract. So this is the circle of agreement and this is the another circle enforceable by law. When an agreement is enforceable by law can be considered as contract. Let me repeat. An agreement can be considered as a contract when it has legal enforceability. When it has enforceability by law, that become contract. I hope you will be able to understand the meaning of contract. Now, in another slide, I would like to talk about the definition of contract according to the Indian Contract Act 1872. This is the definition here. Section 2H of the Indian Contract Act as an agreement enforceable by law. Every contract thus combines two elements. First is the agreement, another is the obligation. That creates right and obligation between the parties to the contract. which are correlative. In case a party refuses to honor a contracted obligation, it will give right of the action to the another party. So guys, in the previous slide, you have already seen that agreement, when an agreement do have enforceability at the law, it will be considered as the contract. So according to this definition, you can easily see in this PPT that first element is the agreement and another element is the obligation. Obligation is nothing but it is an enforceability at the law. So thank you so much guys. I hope you will be able to understand the introduction of contract according to the Indian Contract Act.